So, hi guys, I'm Jose, and my speech is going to revolve around how we can serve an underprivileged youth, and how, since school is set up like a business, how we can use a great businessman's techniques on how to motivate ourselves to help the children who really need help. So, we're going to look at this picture. This picture is a student. He looks upset. So as you're looking at this picture, I want you to understand, have you ever had the feeling like you're falling into a pit? And in this pit, you can't get up. This is how I felt about the education system in this country. I remembered the thought of education and the idea of it being turned into this business. This idea that we're only here for a certain year, and then we do what we have to do in that year. We learn whatever tasks we have to learn, like a labor line, and we move on to the next year. When we govern education in that way, we end up with students like this. Students who don't understand that one part of the line. Students who've gotten a paperback, saw that they didn't do well, and instantly feel, why am I here? Why am I doing this if I can't get this? So I sat in my room one night, really thinking about, is this the responsibility I really want to take on? I used so much energy considering if this was a job I wanted to take, if this was something I felt like I wanted to do. But then I stopped and thought about, I'm going to spend all this energy thinking. Why not spend this energy doing? What am I doing that's actually helping? What am I doing that's progressing forward to help students? So it was time to turn something into action. And I remembered when I was reading all these things about education that someone said in an article once that our problems would be fixable if we could agree that the protection and healthy development of the country's children is not only a humanitarian issue, but a moral imperative. It is also an economic and cultural one. So to better help the future of the country, to better move forward and to help create more conscious adults, we had to help the children. We had to help develop them in a healthy and nurturing way. So as far as I remember from school growing up, I grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So this is Bridgeport, Connecticut. This is where I grew up. I grew up right across the street from this hood right here, this neighborhood. It was the projects. I lived in a community where we had the worst performing school in the state. Worst performing elementary school. I went to school every morning being told, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to go anywhere. What is high school for you? You want to go to a magnet high school? You want to achieve something? No. You're going to go to the high school in your community, and you're probably not going to graduate. What are you thinking? That's what I was told growing up. And the reason why I was told this was because when my city was built by P.T. Barnum, because P.T. Barnum is the founder of the city of Bridgeport. He's also the founder of the Barnum Bailey Ringling Brothers Circus. An extraordinary entrepreneur. Someone who has made money and has been very successful and famous. When he first made Bridgeport, this is what it was. Factories, buildings. When you lived in Bridgeport, you didn't have to worry about getting an education because we were built on the system where as long as you know the basic things you need to know, you can work in a factory the rest of your life. And that's what the education system is built on. And by building it in that system and by keeping that idea, all the kids who go here feel like that's the only place they can go. They're never going to be able to go anywhere else. And I got tired of hearing that excuse. So that's when the action part came in. The action part came in when I decided on my own that I was going to do a service project. My service project was going to be, I was going to choose 2 kids from my old school, lowest performing kids, and somehow help them bring their math grade up. I remember walking in being so scared. How am I going to connect with them? They know I'm from there, but do they really know who I am? As far as they're concerned, I'm an adult who's just walking into a room, telling them they're doing stuff wrong. Let me help them. They didn't know I cared. It was very cold at first when I walked in. I remember sitting there just not being able to talk to them because they were scared to talk to me. They didn't know how to engage me. But I remember the first couple of days I was there, and I was just asking them, how was class? What's homework? What do you not understand about your homework? The question I wasn't asking them, which is what was really on their mind, was how is their day? How is their life? What is going on with them? Because no kid is ever going to listen to what you have to say if they haven't vented about all the problems they're having. They're not going to care what you have to say if they're thinking about, mommy's going to hit me when I get home. If they're thinking about, oh, I'm going to get into an argument with my brother because this happened today. Oh, or my family's fighting, I don't know what to do. As soon as you help them establish that those problems, that they can push past them, they can push past the academic work. It's just getting them in the mindset that they're not failures and they don't have to live this repeated life that they've been told they're going to live. So the reason why P.T. Barnum became such a big part is because P.T. Barnum has 10 rules to succeed in business. These rules are not only for business. He says they're for business. In my personal opinion, they're universal. So when it came down to starting and working with the students, I remembered the ideas, because I have a poster of P.T. Barnum with his 10 rules. One of the rules was, let hope predominate and be not too visionary. So go in there knowing you're going to help these students, knowing you're going to make a difference. Don't think you're going to be the best teacher in the world, you're going to make the biggest change in your first week or the first year you're there, because realistically, it's not going to happen. There is no way as a teacher you can change a school system in 1 year. You have to start with the kids you have. So I started dropping down my idea from helping the school to helping these 2 students only. And I had hope for change. The same hope for change that drove people like President Obama to run for office, who drove people like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to make a difference. And that was always important to me. So as I moved through my project with the kids, my service project, I remembered that it was always Mr. There was no name, there was no actual knowing who I was. I was just a generic person. So the first thing I did was tell them, call me Jose. You don't have to call me Mr. Lopez, you don't have to call me Mr. Jose, just call me Jose. Because that's something that they need to know that I'm there for them, that I'm with them. And I started talking some of their lingo. Like, I grew up there, so it was like, they go, oh, my day was crazy, bro. I don't know what to do, yo. My teacher was just like this, that, and the third. And I'll go, yo, dog, that's crazy. Because I knew that if I could connect to them and talk how they talk to me, that it'll open up a pathway of communication. Right now, it wasn't about helping them academically. It was about getting to know them as people and how I can use the fact that they are good people to motivate them to go forward academically. So I would jump from one side of my spectrum, where I grew up in the hood, and I'll jump back to the other side of the spectrum, where I want to be a teacher one day. And I made sure that they understood when I was the teacher and when I was a friend. I told them that as soon as we pulled out our homework and we started doing homework, that's when I became the teacher. That's when my job was to help them academically. But as soon as we were done with our homework, we could talk about our day. Before our homework, we could talk about our day. And because I kept it that way, they always wanted to get their homework done first because they wanted to hang out and play a board game, or they wanted to hang out, just chill, listen to music, and talk to me. So I kept pushing on. And I remembered that I met this man who started a high school program called Build On. Build On builds schools in other countries. And he told me something very profound when I asked him about service. I said, what is the key to service? He says the key to service was to start off small. That small drop creates the ripple, and that ripple creates the wave. That to just start nuclearly and move my way back. So I started with those 2 students. And I started to see a change. I started to see the change as our sessions move forward. It was, I'm gonna miss you, I can't wait to see you next week, from just I'll see you. They were actually excited to see me, they wanted to see me, they couldn't wait for me to come back the next week and work with them. Because it was important to them that they had someone to talk to. So, it gave me a better sense of self-worth to them. It made me feel better about what I was doing. It made them feel better about me. And due to the fact that they're feeling better about themselves and they're feeling better just being around me, they were doing their work. And because they were doing their work, we started seeing a change in their grades. And the change in their grades was astronomical. They went from getting 30s on a test to getting 70s. We're not going to say they're going to go from an F to an A. That's not realistic. I can't turn someone who's an F student into an A student in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. I had 2.5 months to do it. was not going to be possible. My job was just to get them to the point where they could graduate 8th grade and go into high school with a basic understanding of what was taught to them. So because of that, I got to avoid little scenarios, if I go back, little scenarios like this. Them being left behind when all their friends are gone. When you're in this scenario, it makes you not want to go on. It makes you just want to quit and fold your cards. Because you're by yourself and everyone else is gone around you. And you feel lost, you feel upset, you feel confused. So a big part of it was just helping them understand that they can be better than who people thought they were going to be. And I push you guys, as you become educators, to go out into this world and avoid students who feel like this. Help them. Don't let them sit there by themselves, not knowing where they're going in life. Because at the end of the day, you're not only a teacher, you're not only an educator, you're not a tutor. You can be a mentor. You can be someone these kids can look up to. And it's your job to help them push and to help them succeed and to help them go beyond what they thought was normal for them and to achieve exceptional things, extraordinary things. Which is why the last rule I leave you for P.T. Barnum is, do not depend upon others. He was a big guy on not depending on others because he knew at the end of the day, he had to do it for himself. So don't wait for your friend to do it. Don't wait for a coworker you work with at a school to do it. Don't wait for anyone to do it for you. You have to step in and help those kids yourself. Because if you're waiting for an invitation, the invitation is there. Those kids need our help. They're sitting there like this. Tons of them, across the country. And we're sitting here in this classroom to avoid just that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.